You're probably wondering, how in the world should I handle a personal emergency in private practice?
Ooh.
Well, you're in the perfect place because Kate has a really good story on how she had to handle that, which informs policies and procedures later on. So thanks, Josh, for this question. Hey, everybody, we're Kate and Katie of the Private Practice Startup, and Level Up is all about a series all about you, where we help you build and grow your dream practice, live your dream lifestyle, and work with the clients you absolutely love.
Yes, and before we dive into this interesting story you guys are going to want to hear, we just want to say thank you to our sponsor and our huge supporters of Startup Nation, TherapyNotes. If you're in need of an EHR, definitely check them out. You can use code PPS, as in Private Practice Startup, for your first 2 months for free. So, drum roll, please. Just kidding. I mean, it's not that exciting, but my appendix decided to die on me, and I had a full day of private practice clients that I was getting ready to see. This was back in 2010. I just finished my dissertation, and I'm convinced it killed my appendix. So I think it was a Tuesday. I was getting ready for work. I was in so much pain. I had to get myself to the hospital. I could barely get there, and let alone like speak to anybody because I was in so much pain. And at the time, I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have a VA. I did luckily have a group practice, and I had colleagues that I could rely on who also were practicing at my group practice at that time. And so I had to reach out to a colleague, ask them to go into my charts. Here's the clients I was supposed to see this week. Can you please contact them on my behalf and cancel? Because I realized that I didn't have anything in my consent form saying, in the case of an emergency and I'm incapacitated and I'm not able to contact them, that they sign off, clients agree that I can have a colleague or a representative on my behalf contact them because it is a privacy concern. So that was something that, in hindsight, it's always 2020, we added to our attorney-approved private practice paperwork. We have a clause in there in our 8-page long consent form. Yeah, it is very comprehensive. It is one of the clauses that's in there. So make sure, if you don't have a clause in there, if you don't have an assistant or a VA, and you have a colleague that's going to reach out on your behalf, if God forbid something were to happen, you definitely want to make sure that you have yourself covered and protected. Katie, anything you want to add?
100%. Yeah, and I think this question also sparks like curiosity of not only like if I have an emergency, like we also have to consider in the case of like long-term incapacitation and or death, right? And so those are things that we need to be thinking about, talking about, and need to have policies and procedures in place. I know for the marriage and family therapists out there, LMFT actually in our ethics talks about having a professional will. So not just a personal will, but a professional will. And I remember taking the ethics course when that was added and talking to a colleague and having her be part of my own process and system, showing her, you know, where to access the phone numbers and things like that. So these are really good conversations to have, because you never know, like Kate said, like when you're in an emergency situation, clients are probably the last thing you're going to want to think of. But once you've already done this legwork ahead of time and you have your system in place and your contact person, like Kate said, whether it's your assistant or colleague, it makes life a little bit easier. So great question. Glad you're thinking about it.
Yeah, and the really cool thing, if you have an EHR like TherapyNotes, you can actually have an admin login. So you could share that with your assistant, your VA, or a colleague. In case of emergency, they have admin access to your EHR, because if nobody has that and you have the password and it's just for yourself and all your records are electronic, nobody has any access. So it's going to be complete chaos. And we want to prevent that from happening. So yeah, this was a really great question. I hope our answers were useful. And if you're listening to this and you're struggling with your private practice, feeling stuck, or just not being able to fill your practice with the clients that you absolutely love working with and live that life that you desire, definitely check out our giveaway for you, which is the free Dream Private Practice Playbook. It's actually the exact methodology that Katie and I use to build our dream private practices, 6-figure, and we've helped so many therapists also do the same. So definitely check that out. We'll put the link for you in the resources section.
And we'll also add the link to the paperwork that we discussed if you are in need of paperwork too. So great questions. We look forward to seeing you on our next Level Up series. And remember, in the meantime, you guys got this. Take care, everybody.